Welcome to Standout Subject Lines. Get open, get read, get results. I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Delighted to have you here with us today. We're going to talk through a few basic housekeeping details before we get into the content of today's seminar. And the first of those is who the heck I am. I am, of course, Dave Meyer, president of BizzyWeb. And you can reach me at dave@bizzyweb.com or at 612-4BizzyO, 612-424-9990. If you do happen to have any questions, or if you'd like to request the PowerPoint from today to get access to some of those handy tips for creating great subject lines. Questions live, you're going to go into the event page that you saw before. And so if you're watching live via this broadcast stream, the easiest way to ask questions during the event and to get a little bit of a bigger screen to watch the event is to click on this Google Plus link. When you click on the Google Plus link that I've highlighted right here, you'll be able to see a new page. That new page is going to look like this. And when you click on the play button, you'll see a new window popping up. Go ahead and click, "Are you going to watch?" and say yes. And then click the play button to see what's happening. So when you do click that play button, you'll go to a new window, and I'm going to quickly click pause when we see that because it automatically starts playing. And so you can ask a question by clicking the big green Ask a New Question button here during the live event. So if you click that green button, you can ask a question here. Or give us a subject line and we'll help spice it up. So if you have questions or if you'd like help with the subject line on an email or some sort of a social media post, go ahead and provide that to us and we will talk about that during the event today. I'm going to skip back and forth to this Q&A page a couple times during the presentation and would love to help you out with that. So if you have something that you're trying to get a lot of extra excitement for, just put that in here and we will take care of it for you and give you some recommendations. Again, here's how to get a hold of us. Go ahead and send an email to dave@bizzyweb.com if you'd like the PowerPoint notes from today, or give us a call if you're having any issues. One note, if things do stop or shutter, or if your connection times out and things pause, it's probably not us. It's probably YouTube trying to catch up with the encoding. So if you just scroll backwards a little bit in the embedded video, that should get you back to what you need. And fear not, if there is something that happens and if you need to step away, this is going to be recorded and it's going to be live on the page that you saw originally. And you can click play and rewatch this at any time. All right, so who's BizzyWeb? We are a digital marketing agency located just north of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in a lovely suburb called Champlin. We do digital marketing services, including web design, social media marketing, and all kinds of other wonderful stuff, including email marketing, social media, content writing, Google ads, Facebook ads, and search engine optimization. We round all of those things up into our Buzz Builders program. And if you do have a question or connection that you would like to make, or if you're ready to get serious about your marketing, our programs cost less than the price of hiring someone, and you get an entire team to help you with all of your digital marketing needs. So we hope we can help you out with that. And again, you can get a hold of us by the contact information that you saw at the beginning, and I'll remind you of that a couple times during the event. All right, so let's kick off the session with a simple definition or framework of what marketing really is. You already know really what marketing is, but when I say marketing, I mean something very specific. Social or email marketing and all marketing is about getting specific, measurable results. What kind of results are we talking about? Well, it might be clicks or downloads, visits to your store, reservations or appointments, calls, but really all of those interim steps are going to point to either revenue or donations for your organization. So this is what we're shooting for and what I mean when I say marketing. We're getting at the interim steps to get you the money that you need for your business. Email is what we're talking about today as far as subject lines because it's hard to beat. It's really where people are. 91% of US adults say that they like to receive promotional emails from companies they do business with, and that's a key distinguisher from companies they do business with and that are serving their needs. Don't spam people and don't buy lists whenever possible. We warn off clients every single day that are trying to buy a list and spam clients. And then 138% of folks spent more with their email offers than those who don't receive any email offers. So if you don't send emails to your existing clients, you're missing out on a massive revenue opportunity. You can do much more by just connecting with the people that already know you. It's way easier to connect with folks that already know you and to build existing business into more business than it is to try and capture a brand new lead. So make sure that you reach out and connect with those people where they are. Subject lines, and I'm going to broaden this out for every kind of post and attention grabber inside of social media as well as email, but all of these can get your post read, bring you more business and more revenue, and build awareness around your business or organization. This is very much the difference between September newsletter and get this offer to bring more business into your business, right? So speak to what they need and speak to what they're interested in your business for. Get right to the point, and you're going to see dramatically improved results. So let's talk about a few ways that we can do that today. As a small business, you don't have time to do things that don't work. So when it comes to subject lines, let's get into the habit of optimizing subjects to get to the best possible results for your marketing effort. Approximately 1/3 of people decide to open an email based solely on the subject line. That subject line needs to be a standout, whether you're reading on a desktop computer or a smartphone or a tablet. After today's webinar, you'll have some tricks of the trade that you can use to start your next email campaign. After a few campaigns of implementing we'll show you here today, you'll be a pro at getting measurable results for your marketing efforts. Remember that mobile is really the only way a lot of people market now, or a lot of people engage with content. A mobile phone is a mobile inbox, and the #1 application on smartphones is email. So subject line, so why are we talking about subject lines? Well, 53% of emails tend to be opened on mobile. And did you know that the average person looks at their phone about 150 times a day? Your email should be one of those messages that they're checking, and we want messages to stand out in a crowded inbox on a mobile or on desktop computer. Remember, if people skip over your message, if they answer these 3 questions when they're opening their email, it's going to be either now or later, where they'll delete your message or mark it as spam if they say never. And if they say later, they're probably just doing the Minnesota Nice version of never, because we all have way too many emails. So your goal is to get people to click and open right away every time. So let's talk through our agenda for the day. First, we're going to go through each of these. Why are subject lines so important? We'll look at what the impact marketing for your small business and nonprofits have with subject lines, how to write good subject lines, and that's optimization techniques to get your subject lines opened, how to consider desktop as well as mobile. There are a few tips and tricks that you need to do when you're writing to know that you're going to connect with mobile devices. And again, we know that at least 53% of all email is opened on a mobile device. And then we're going to talk through some next steps. I'm going to get you where you need to do, where you need to connect, and how you need to keep things going in order to get the kind of results that you're looking for. So first, of course, why are subject lines so important? Well, of course, an email that isn't opened isn't effective. As I touched on briefly before, the 3 little words that rule your world in marketing are now, later, or never. Think about this morning when you checked your email. Whether you were aware of it or not, you were sorting your messages into these 3 categories. But it's important that you know that with both recipient as a sender, you need to make sure that you're connecting now. You don't want it to be never, obviously, and later, let's face it, is a well-intentioned never. You never go back to messages, and you may in fact go back at the end of the day or the first thing on the next day and just go through all of the stuff that you thought you were going to read later. and just delete it. Here's the 3 reasons they're going to open your email. First, if they recognize the sender. They need to know who you are. So identify yourself as your brand and probably a person within your brand that they might recognize or notice. If this is a cold note, or if this is something that there's a new person on your team or you're trying to connect out, then make sure to lead with your brand or your company. But make sure that you tie it down to a person when at all possible. So it's probably Dave at BizzyWeb or Mary at your company. And make sure that you say that and that it's clear. In 2012, Constant Contact noted that 64% of recipients reported that the organization who sent the message was a major reason for opening the organization's email. The time they receive a given message is also important. You want to make sure that reading your message is convenient to them, and then pay attention to when your recipients are opening your emails and send it consistently at this time. There are metrics that help you do this, and you'll be able to see that. For example, inside of Constant Contact's measurement tools, you can see when your most popular opening time is. Make sure that you send it around that time. And lastly, was your subject worth reading? Does the subject line compel them to click on your message and read more about it? Boring messages need not apply. So let's get into this. What is the subject? There's a battle of priorities when people take into account what they're going to do with your message. I like to call this the battle of 222. So within the first 2 seconds, you have to compel someone to pay attention. So it has to be right to the point. The second 2 is the first 2 words of your subject line or headline. That's really all they read before making a decision to move forward. And it's not a decision about whether to read your message, but as to whether or not they're going to bother to read the rest of your subject line. Consider how you read emails these days. If a subject line is too long or part of your message can be cut off to fit into a smartphone screen size, test to make sure that when you're crafting your subject lines, you'll have a better chance of grabbing the attention you need today. And that's the third 2. Why does this email or message matter to me today? So within 2 seconds, you have to capture their attention. Within 2 words, you need to rivet their eyeballs to move forward, and you need to tell them what to do today. Remember the 222 principle here. So does it clearly answer the question on what they should do with your message? Make sure your message is that clearly identifies the email's purpose. You can get as creative and clever about how you craft it, but as long as you're alluding to an element of your email's content, the more creative your subject line is, the more it'll stand out among the rest of the messages in a subscriber's inbox, and natural curiosity will capture their attention. Write your subject lines after you've written and designed your next email. You'll have much better grasp after that point about what the end goal or purpose is to your email. So the ideas will roll off your tongue at that point, but experiment with what works best for your creative process. Your goal is to pull folks into your email. You can highlight relevance, usefulness, value, or educational value at the opening of your message to capture their attention, or switch it up and do something unexpected or non-traditional or unusual. Match your message tone to reflect your brand. Is your brand informative, funny, quirky? Are you a thought leader? Are you very corporate, or are you very silly? Just incorporate that element into your brand's personality and into your subject lines within a few words. There's also pre-header text or teaser text that can hook in as a second chance to draw your subscribers into the email after they've considered the subject line. This space allows for slightly more words, and this is where you want to take your subject line a bit further by explaining or elaborating on your subject line. Remember, this is seen specifically on a mobile device right below the subject line, even if it is made invisible to desktop viewers. I have clients, or technically folks that were clients and that have sadly moved on, that still send out messages, and when I read them on my mobile device, it says, use this pre-header text for your email. They forgot about it, they don't fill it out, and it makes them look silly to 54% of everyone that sees their content. So take care to use your pre-header text. We'll talk more about that later. Make sure you're not doing things we've found spammers do in their emails. These are things that'll likely get your emails sent right to readers' trash folders, or they won't even see it in the first place because their spam filter will take care of it for them. So here's some typical spammy words. Spam filters are trained to block these if they catch them in subject lines, but here are some examples of words not to use. Don't use the word free, act now, lose weight, money, fast, guaranteed, advertisement. Don't use all caps on your messages, and don't use excessive punctuation. 3 exclamation points is almost a guaranteed way to get your message flagged. Connect up and just look at your own junk email folder, and you'll know what to do from there. Don't do what the spam folks do. All right, so we know why subject lines are so important. Here's how to write some good ones. I want to check back for a second, make sure we don't have any questions or any subject lines. So again, if you do have a subject line that you would like help with, go ahead and click on the Google Plus link right here, and that's going to open up this page where you'll be able to click the big green button and ask us a question. Also, give us a subject line if you would like our help to spice it up. When you send that subject line, tell us a little bit about your company and what you're trying to do for maximum effect. But this is a workshop for you, so I would love to hear that. Thank you very much. Let's keep going on forward. So a good subject line can make or break an email. We know this, and we already know that we need to grab people's attention and use the 2-2-2 principle to get 2 seconds, 2 words, and today. If you have a beautifully designed email template with all the right stuff in it, but you don't even have a subject line that makes someone pause or wonder, that message is not going to get opened. Your subject lines are the gatekeepers to higher open rates and better quality engagement from subscribers reading your email campaigns. Your subject line can produce measurable responses like newer, more sales, more event attendees, fundraising success, or audience participation and engagement with your brand. These might seem like small things, but there's no limit to what you can do with a subject line with a little creativity and technique. Here's some techniques that we can start with. So, standout subject lines attract attention. They move someone to click on your message to view its entirety and engage with your call to action. Here's some techniques. Short and sweet. 4 to 7 words is an ideal span to grab and grasp attention to react on a mobile or desktop. They want you to offer information that's hard to click away from in a split second, and they're willing to be distracted for a moment, but you better make it worth it. Make an attractive offer. They want discounts or special offers that feel exclusive and valuable. Offer something that's sustainable for your business to realistically support or honor, and tell your subscribers why the offer is so great. Looking great on a smartphone screen is pretty obvious. If you don't keep it clean and if they can't see all of the context or text on that message, if it's a long drawn out subject line or if it's too boring, it's going to get skipped over on mobile. Make sure that it follows your brand identity. People connect with you and your company. If you're not supporting your brand inside of your messages and with your subject line, if you have an accountant company and you do a crazy silly headline or subject line, that's not going to match your brand and people aren't going to respond to it. Likewise, if you're a exciting, fun, youthful, hip brand and you do a very boring subject line, that's not going to resonate either. Make sure that you raise a little bit of interest with a statement that might pique curiosity or make them think and ask them, what's that about? Make sure that it regards or relates to what you're trying to do, but don't be afraid to raise a little bit of interest. And then urgency or scarcity tactics can grab a reader's attention for fear of missing out. FOMO works, but don't hit people over the head with it, and make sure that you're respecting people by not being overtly scary. So I got an email the other day for something I'd been looking at, but I didn't open it soon enough and the offer had expired, and I was upset for missing out, but I completely bypassed the subject line because it didn't seem urgent and the offer would expire. If you're offering something that's limited, say it in the subject line. Dates work really well. By August 15th. By next week. 30 days left. 2 days left. Whatever you want to say, make sure that people get that content in there. Entertain, warn, and inform. Use humor to inspire laughter. Funny subject lines can open a lot of doors, or in this case, emails. Warning your audience of something can gently alarm someone, compelling them to open their email. But helpful sides and funny sides, think about when you've received an email that connects and that really resonates with you. There's likely some sort of an emotional attachment to that message. So if it's funny, make sure that it's engagingly funny. You don't need to start off with a joke, but make sure that you connect in a realistic way. Warn them of something, don't miss out. These 3 things might save your life. Again, make sure that it actually will. It's not stocking up on toilet paper or whatever, but make sure that it actually is relevant to what you're saying. And then you can also use literary techniques. So whether it's onomatopoeia or repeating things over and over again, allusion, alliteration, connecting up, making sure that it stands out. Prince, people, pop, person, whatever, make things rhyme, make things interesting. The Goldilocks technique, saying things that remind people of common things inside of the culture can be very helpful and easy ways to grow interest and time. So you can also use top lists. Readers are willing to be distracted for a moment as much as they may not want to be. Readers want to be distracted by lists and content that makes them think or entertains them or adding value to their workday. Think of top appeal lists as info snacks. It's a time snack for your brain that you find online to educate or entertain you for a moment. Let's go into that a little bit more because they're a really hot and popular trend right now. And if you visit any of the websites that I'll show you later for ideas, this is a pretty common appeal. The top appeal is really fun and really easy. So if you bring this in, a lot of people are turning lists in. So whether it's top 3 reasons, top 11 issues, 9 best tips and tricks, top 7 concerns, 7 need-to-know strategies, all of these things elicit 2 things. First, they elicit some sort of importance or gravitas to this. Oh, it's the top 3 reasons, or it's the best tips and tricks. But by giving people a specific number, you're also limiting it down and saying this isn't going to take a lot of your time. So 7 need-to-know strategies, 3 reasons, or 11 issues is a much easier thing than promising a treatise on everything you need to know about your strategy, right? So the fewer the better. Make sure that people understand the time frame this is going to take by eliciting a number or a bullet or just a specific thing, the one thing you need, the 7 concerns people have. And I would keep it under 10 ideally, but also feel free to mix it up a little bit. Top 10 lists tend to get a little bit tired. And so, using a different number will also pique people's curiosity. So it might be the top 3, the top 2.5, whatever. Make sure that it stands out so that people understand that this is what they're going to get and that it's not a huge investment in time. Let's explore some of the ways you could brainstorm better subject lines using some of the techniques discussed so far. The top appeal, a quick list of easily digestible pieces of information, 7 must-haves for fall, 3 end-of-year tax tips, top 10 best beauty products this year. Create a sense of urgency to drive action. Only 12 seats left. Get yours before midnight. 1 day left. You won't believe what we have in store for you. Ask a question. What you need to know about your personal finances. What's happening? What's next for you? The things that you say every time. How you can help your business grow. How do you feel prepared for the winter? Would you like to know what to do about this particular problem? Exclusivity helps drive action. An exclusive offer for you. Only crafters would understand this feeling. The top things our insider club understands. And then staying in the know. 13 signs you're budgeting wrong. You won't believe your eyes when you see this. If you aren't doing this every day, you're doing it wrong. So that kind of content, again, you're trying to engage people, to connect, to grow your business by capturing people's attention. I've said often, if you've heard any of BizzyWeb's webinars, that there's really an 80-20 or a 50-30-20 rule for how to engage people. 50% of what you do should be designed to engage. And that's really where subject lines tend to live. But 30% of what you do should also be designed to inform. And so as you're doing social media posts and subjects, getting deeper and informing people what they need to know, getting them something that they might not know about or that you know about because you're an expert. And then the last 20% telling them what to do next is all very helpful and important. There's also literary techniques. So let's go into a little bit more detail here on automatopoeia, whether it's boom, crackle, and pop. Allusions, we're bringing crafty back. We're bringing sexy back. Alliteration, 7 simple solutions to saving. Chunking, lions, tigers, and the Springfield Bears, oh my. Or numbers, 13 ways you're killing your credit score, are all incredibly helpful and easy ways to reach out and to capture people's attention. You're going for the familiar. You're trying to draw ties between what they understand and what you're trying to convey. So allusions and numbers and chunking and capturing people's attention by standing out with a little bit of alliteration or an onomatopoeia can be very, very helpful. So here's some ways to adapt our subject lines using some of these literary techniques. So the June promotion, onomatopoeia might be splish splash, oh, the prices we've slashed. Or cha-ching. Joe's Pet Store newsletter, allusions, who let the dogs out? Pet shots this Saturday. Fido's got 99 problems, but fleas ain't one. Mother's Day specials, alliteration, make mom's morning miraculous. Or cards, candy, and one cozy couch. Sign up for summer camp, chunking. Summer camp 2016, new, archery, fencing, and sailing. You've chunked 3 things together into one easy to digest bit, archery, fencing, and sailing. Or kids love it, parents dream about it, registration is open. So chunking 3 things together is a really easy way to capture people's attention with a great subject line. For a New England concert update, numbers could work really well. 3 can't miss summer festivals, or 16 bands, but only one Miranda Lambert. So numbers, connecting, and making things simple is going to drive your connections, drive your content, and get people excited to click on in your message. So what would you change for this? Whether it's our monthly tax newsletter, you can almost hear Ben Stein reading these off, right? New product arrival, get a free Apple Watch with 3 exclamation points. You've got free in all caps, 3 exclamation points. It's not even going to make it into people's subject line inbox. So what I do with these? Well, maybe 3 overlooked tax deductions you may qualify for. It's a little wordy, but it's okay. New product arrival, sweet dreams are made of cheese, right? Very fun. Or get a free Apple Watch. Apple Watch. Want one? Easy. Click, go, and interesting. Where to find inspiration? Well, there's a lot of places out there on this. First, check your news. If you have something going on in the news, be careful with this because it might be dangerous to over-rely on the news. Remember, with all of the political stuff going on right now and all of the headlines, anything in politics, about 50% of people are going to be upset if you pick one side over the other. And same thing with religion or alluding to something too sexy or outlandish or whatever. But if there's something interesting going on, a lot of people are keying in on the Olympics right now. So, that's because that's happening at this very moment. Magazine headlines and covers, as you're sitting in the checkout at the supermarket, look at the types of things that they're putting right on the covers of magazines. Those are the things that are designed to engage people and to get them to buy. That's a bigger hurdle than what you have. All you need to do is get people to click. They're actually trying to get people to drop $4 on a People magazine. So what's going to get your clients to respond. Lots of great examples there. Look at what others are doing. Look at your competitors. What I love doing is connecting with competition that's probably not really competition. So someone on the other end of the country, someone in a different field, someone that does something similar to, or that's not really a competitor, but that does something or serves a similar market that I do, because that's a great indication of what's resonating for their clients. Search results headlines. So if you search for your product or service, if you search for the company or who you connect with on a regular basis, what you find in the search results, specifically in the online ads, can be very illustrative. Blog titles, as you read through blog posts and content, if you go to Alltop, ALLTOP.com, there's a lot of fantastic blogs out there that catalogs all the top blogs. And so if you look at the headlines inside of those around your industry, that might be very helpful and engaging. Tweets that get a lot of engagement, a lot of retweets, a lot of shares. Same thing goes with Facebook. You can see how many shares or connections or clicks. Look at the capture text inside of those posts to help you out. Listicles that make you curiously click on headlines, and you can get stuff from BuzzFeed, Upworthy, or Mashable. All great content. Note, don't fall into the trap of falling into a clickbait farm or becoming a clickbait farm, but look at some of the things that they do. BuzzFeed in particular is pretty famous for this. It's, you wouldn't believe what happens next, or I couldn't see straight without these three things, or I started bawling when I saw this. All of those things can be useful in their own regard, but don't over rely on them, and don't go too far, especially if it doesn't match your brand, and especially if it's not serving some underlying goal. You can hit people over the head, and there's a good reason that people call it clickbait. And there's also a great reason that Facebook has recently announced that they're actively demoting content that's written like listicle or headline feed or clickbait kind of stuff. So, the era in Facebook, at least, of saying you won't believe what happens next, or all of those kinds of posts, is kind of coming to a close. But if you're careful with it and you're respectful of your audience's attention, that can be very, very effective as a way to capture people's attention. They wouldn't be doing it all day long if it didn't work. Other ways to find inspirations. Oh, for some reason that post showed up twice. So consider desktop as well as mobile. And I'm going to skip over, just make sure we don't have any questions here. Again, as a reminder, if you click the big green button for the Ask a New Question, going to be a helpful tool for you, and we'd love to help you with your own subject line. So go ahead and submit that. If you don't have a Google Plus account, all you need to do is give your name and your email to get into that. And so with desktop, we all kind of know what that is. And you're on a computer and you've got all kinds of space and things to use. But mobile is incredibly important. 76% of people read email on their phones. 67% of B2B workers view emails on their phone. And 64% of key decision makers read email on mobile. This is especially important because decision makers, C-suite level folks, generally are on the run a lot. And your industry, your target market, may have specific parts of the market that are only viewing the web or viewing their social media or viewing their email only on their phone. So make sure that you're thinking about this stuff. Here's some best practices. First, use mobile-friendly or single-column templates. If you have an email template that you've been working with for several years, and especially if it has 3 columns to make it look like a newspaper, you need to spend some time updating that, because it simply doesn't work. The best thing to do is to look at one of your emails on your iPhone or on your Android or whatever mobile device you have. You have to see how it looks in order to understand if it's being effective. I'm going to give you a link at the end of this on how to get a new mobile responsive design for free. And so hang on till the end to get that detail. Make sure that your logo is on the left or the center and is always hyperlinked to your business. and ideally to a call to action page on your business. Don't make people hunt around. This isn't Where's Waldo. This is I'm ready to buy. And so connect people and make sure that you get them exactly to the place that contextually you're trying to drive them to. So when people click on this Southside Cycling link, it should be going to the 20% off summer gear page instead of going to the home page and asking people to look at specials and then driving down 3 clicks. They're not going to take all that time. Apply your brand colors. If you have a yellow and blue kind of company like BizzyWeb, make sure that you don't have green and purple all over your emails, because people aren't going to they're not going to resonate with that. They're not going to see that it's you. It needs to be clear that this is the company that they know and trust, or that they just heard about, or that they liked enough to subscribe. And then minimum 12-point type in the font for body and 22-point type for calls to action. Make it big. It's going to seem weird, but especially when you're looking at it on a mobile device, remember some of these screen sizes are 4.5 inches big. So you can't see that kind of content if it's eeny weeny teeny. Again, if you just look at it on your mobile device, you'll get an instant read for how well it's already converting. So here's a zoom in on that content. You know, using that pre-header text is very, very important. When people are looking at their subject lines, they're going to see your subject line, and they're also going to see that little bit of pre-header text. So think of this as your two-way or your 2 steps to get people engaged and informed. If you don't use it, and especially if you're using cheapo crap like MailChimp or something, I apologize if you're a MailChimp fan, but it doesn't actively drive this into your head. And so a lot of people do this wrong. But if you're using something and you're not using it right, and if it says, use this as a pre-header text to click or to get people to click or engage inside of your message, that's a huge red flag for people, and they're not going to take you seriously. So just use that content, use it for what it's intended to be. Worst case, if you don't have it in there and there's nothing in there, it just gives you a big blank space. And why give people extra blank space when you could be enticing them to click, do more, or buy? So the preview pane and pre-header text, you know, it's a way to read email on desktop. So if you're browsing and if your email tool is set up to show headline and a little bit of text, and then when you click on that headline, it shows the big text on the right-hand side, that's a way to display a little bit more information inside of there. It displays it on the top half of your email. The pre-header text is the first line of text above the logo, and it's really best seen on mobile devices. So here's some examples. So the pre-header text is the first line of text above that logo, and it's on mobile devices. So as you see this, it's start building trust with your email subscribers. And you can see over on the right here, to Susan, tip, make a great first impression, start building trust with your email. It gets right in there so you can see exactly what's happening and what to do next. If you don't pay attention to that, you're missing that option. A preview pane is a great way to read email on desktop, and it displays a snippet of your email, and it displays that top half of your email. So again, start building trust with your email subscribers. That's on the left, shows up on the right. So that's the content that drills right in. And again, size matters. Keep it clear, make it clever, keep it short. 30 to 40 characters max will typically appear on most mobile devices. 6 to 11 words will fit best, and 4 to 7 words has the greatest response. You can't tell too much. You have to winnow it down, and you have to think about, as people are swiping with their thumb through thousands of messages, what's going to capture their attention. You want to customize the first 11 to 18 words of pre-header text. That's about a tweet length. And 53%, remember, of email is opened on mobile devices. So any questions on that stuff? If you have a subject line, would love to hear it. I'm also going to do this on Facebook Live as a very brief run through on under 10 minutes at the end of this event. So if you want to ask questions via Facebook, connect with us at BizzyWeb or facebook.com/BizzyWeb. But let's go through the final next steps. Remember, If there's one thing that we hope will take with you at the end of today's seminar, it's that it's important to measure progress as you learn to perfect the art of compelling subject lines and getting your open rates to steadily improve. To do this effectively, you want to make sure that you stay organized with your campaigns so that you can access your progress with a glance at your analytics. When you create an email campaign, you want to make sure to label it according to what the email's about, so that in the future, when you want to look back on something you've done, you don't have to try to guess what the email was about if the title it was given was just the default file name. For example, if you're using Constant Contact, as this is, the first image points to a generic default file name that every draft email you create in Constant Contact is given if you don't label it. Imagine looking back on a year's worth of monthly newsletters and announcements that you sent out over the course of a year. This is a nightmare, and it's almost impossible to make sure you're getting better. First world problems, I get it, but if you don't take the time to customize, it's going to give you headaches later. So how about one wonderful winter weather cure? So get right into it and tell people what, or tell yourself what it is, so that you know that that one had a 38% click-through rate or open rate and a 12% click-through rate. You can just see it right in the reports. And this is in this example, we've shown you what it looks like when you match your subject line to your final. And this is why this is important. Here's the campaign created and what those campaigns are. And then instead, one wonderful weather cure, March Yoga Madness, Half Moon Yoga April newsletter. Thanks for your support. Yoga at 10,000 feet. You know, it's a big difference between campaign created on blah, 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 blah times and what these things are. So we know, thanks for your support and enjoy a class on us was the big winner. Surprise, surprise, people love free stuff, right? But that's how you get there. So here's 4 simple steps to get you to what you need. First, brainstorm at least 3 versions of every subject line. Get into the habit of going through and first write and design your email, and then get with someone else to brainstorm standout subject lines. After a few times, this is going to become second nature, and you'll enjoy increased open rates and maybe a coffee or beer with friends. Test on a mobile device always before sending. Remember to always test your messages on as many accounts and devices as you can. So if you have an iPhone, you check it on your own. If you have a friend that has an Android, make sure that you send it to that friend and say, okay, it looked good. A lot of marketing folks will connect up and make sure that they always have 2 or both of those types of devices that they're previewing. You can sign up from free accounts on AOL and Yahoo and Hotmail and Gmail to make sure that your emails are looking good on all of those special networks. If you use a PC, make sure that you always also preview on a Mac and vice versa. And just test and check and make sure that all your stuff looks good. Consider your preview pane display and customize the pre-header text. That's your 1-2 punch. This is how you get people excited and draw them in even more than with a great subject line. And then, of course, monitor your progress. Make sure you label your drafts the same way you label your subject lines to be able to track the progress of your new and improved subject lines over time. Most email providers will have great analytics tools. So keep good records of your drafts, because you'll need to be using them to evaluate what is or is not working. So there's subject lines. I hope you got a lot out of this, and I think it was pretty straightforward. But if you have more questions, here's how to connect up, and make sure to send those to me. You can also send an email to dave@BizzyWeb.com. I'll give you that link again in a second. As a special offer, as I promised earlier, if you sign up with Constant Contact, BizzyWeb is an authorized local expert with Constant Contact. So what that gets us is the ability to give you fantastic deals. If you sign up with Constant Contact, you can get a free 60-day trial. Don't have to enter in your credit card information. Don't have to do anything other than giving your email address and starting to play with the tools. But as soon as you decide that you want to pay, and programs start at $20 a month, we'll give you a free custom mobile responsive template, which is usually $199 value if you sign up with Constant Contact through this address, BizzyWeb.com/cc. There's no contract. There's a 100% money back guarantee at any time. And this is great stuff for you and your business. To learn more, you can check out BizzyWeb.com/events for all kinds of other content that's out there and available. We talk about everything under the sun in digital marketing, and there's 240 busy webinars out there right now for your review. So if you go through, if you're interested in any subject, you can simply search inside of our search bar on the different events or different content. Make sure that you sign up for our marketing, and I'll show you how to, or for our emails, and I'll share with you how that works in a moment. Again, don't forget about that 60-day free trial and or that $199 deal. And then if you want more information about open rates, content for your industry, and other helpful resources, theconstantcontact.com/library at blogs.constantcontact.com is a great resource. If you would like to stay up to date with what's happening with BizzyWeb, just text Bizzy, B-I-Z-Z-Y, watch your autocorrect, to 22828 in order to get started and to connect up with us. And again, here's how to get a hold of me. Dave at BizzyWeb.com if you would like a copy of today's event deck, or give us a call at 612-4BizzyO-424-9990. I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us this last 45 minutes. Hope you got a lot out of it. And if you have more information or would like to talk more, go ahead and get a hold of us. Again, Dave at BizzyWeb.com or 612-424-9990. Again, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. If you want a very abridged version of this, I'm going to do it on Facebook Live in just a couple of minutes. But until then, hope you have a fantastic day. And remember, at BizzyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a great day.